Hi, my name is Jay Sugarman, and I want to welcome you to Museum Open House. This ongoing series features and highlights many of the outstanding museums and other cultural institutions. The main purpose of most programs is to inform viewers about current and upcoming exhibits, various programs, resources, and other opportunities that are available for the general public. Today, via Zoom, we're fortunate to have as our guest Sydney Rich. Sydney serves as the communications manager at the Musical Instrument Museum, which is located in Phoenix, Arizona. During the program, we're learning all about the history and mission of the museum and how it's grown, developed, and operates today. We'll go on a behind the scenes tour and in the process come to better understand and appreciate how the Musical Instrument Museum's mission is not just to display instruments, but to connect people with the cultural stories and sounds behind them, illustrating the shared human experience expressed through music. Let's start by meeting Sydney and then learning all about the Musical Instrument Museum. Welcome, Sydney. So delighted to be able to be here.
Thank you so much for having me, Jay. I'm very excited to have our conversation today.
It's been fascinating finding out all the museum has to offer. Eager to find out more and have you inform viewers. But before we jump right to that, I also think it would be interesting if you'd briefly start by sharing perhaps a little bit more about your background, what attracted you to the museum, and what your current position entails, please.
Absolutely. So I am the communications manager currently at the Musical Instrument Museum, but prior to me even getting here, I just lucked out and fell into the museum industry. You know, a lot of
Mhm.
people look for jobs in the museum industry.
Mhm.
So competitive and hard to get into. And I had just finished my master's degree at the Arizona State University. Walter Cronkite School of Journalism program and was looking for a gig primarily outside of Arizona. I'm a native, so I've been here my whole life and was looking for that key opportunity to get me out. And I told myself if I was going to stay in the Valley, then I would work at MIM. And I really got lucky. I was passionate about music. I grew up playing
Mm.
7 different instruments.
Wow.
Yeah, so a range from brass to strings, and it just kind of always clicked for me. But when this opportunity came up, when I was looking for jobs after graduation, I could not pass it up, the opportunity to combine two of the greatest passions of my life, which was communications and making connections with people. Um,
Yeah.
and then, of course, music. And then learning more about the mission. That was what was attracted to me to MIM of this idea of conserving and providing easy access to our guests to be able to see these music styles from all over the world was just so impactful to me and so different how you can travel the world just by traveling this building.
Yeah.
Um, and that was the key to get me through the door for sure. It's just been an incredible time ever since I've been here for almost 4 years now.
Fabulous. Well, it sounds like a perfect match for you
Thank
and the
you.
museum. And before we sort of take that tour of the world that we can experience at the museum, would you start by just sharing what inspired the creation of such a museum dedicated entirely to instruments from around the world?
Absolutely. So our founder, Bob Ulrich, who's very involved even today
Mm.
in our museum's day-to-day productions, he was the former CEO and chairman of Target. And he was retiring around that 2005 area and was traveling the world with his friend Mark Felix. And Bob, in his own right, is a collector of art, specifically
Mm.
of African art. So as they were traveling the world, they were going to different kinds of museums, and they happened upon the Musical Instrument Museum in Brussels, Belgium.
Ah.
And it kind of opened their eyes to this experience of museums. And he was just enamored with the fact that guests were having so much fun listening to music and experiencing musical instruments as the art versus traditional art pieces that we know and love as well. And his friend Mark gave him the idea and said, you know, for the cost of one of the greatest art pieces in the world, you could probably open an entire
Mm,
museum dedicated to
wow.
musical instruments. And it was like a light bulb, and then it was the speed of light that that MIM came together. Um, and the way that he thought about it was, okay, well, there are musical instrument museums in the world already. How do we differentiate ourselves?
Mm,
And that's where the global aspect came in, to expand beyond Western musical traditions and to showcase musical traditions that are played every day in all of the corners of the world. And that kind of started everything for us. Within 5 years, we were open, April
wow.
2010, which I'm sure is talking to a lot of people, that really is the speed of light in terms of
Yeah, for
museum.
sure.
Um, he did the entire process of ideation all the way to the opening in that process and in that time frame. So they went about finding a location. They chose Phoenix with its proximity to such an internationally serving airport, as
Hmm.
well as having the Grand Canyon close by and being the
Wow.
gateway to the West Coast. They're really thinking like, okay, this is an easy place for people to travel to and add this to their exceptional experience of the Southwest and the West. And it really was just kind of kismet that we ended up right here in the valley.
No, it's worked out so well, I know. For those of us who haven't had the opportunity to visit yet, how are the galleries organized geographically?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we're one of the number one things that I hear is that people don't expect MIM to be as large as it is. So we are a 200,000 square foot facility on 2 floors.
Wow.
Quite large, and
Yeah.
80,000 of that is dedicated to gallery space. But like I said, 2 floors. So our entire upstairs galleries is dedicated to representing the music of the world. So really, you can give yourself a self-guided experience. We don't have
Mm,
a specific pathway that we recommend any guest to take because of the fact that it's really what resonates with you, what's calling you, what music do you love, what music inspires you, what music are you discovering that really takes you on this journey throughout the upstairs galleries. But how they are organized is by geographical regions. So, you know, if you're starting from our southern part of the gallery, we begin in Africa. We pass through North Africa and the Middle East. We cross over our alcove into Asia. And then
mm.
we go into Oceania, we cross over into Latin America and the Caribbean, we go across the way and we have USA, Canada, and then we have our Europe galleries as well right there. So in each of the continents themselves, we try to explore each country individually through instruments, musical representation, through video monitors and through the instruments themselves. So
Fabulous.
every country in the world is represented in the galleries. The
That's
only it is incredible.
It is. I mean, I guess this would be hard. It's almost like maybe choosing a favorite child, but is there an instrument, a story that particularly resonates with a lot of the visitors?
That's a great question. I think there are quite a few, and the headset experience is really integral to the experience. So something I haven't mentioned yet is the guide ports,
Yeah.
which we provide with every single guest visit. It's included with your general admission. You put them on and you don't have to touch them for the rest of the time that you're here. You walk up to each individual exhibit and it'll automatically start playing whatever music is on the television screen at that exhibit, surrounded by instruments. So you can
That's
see and hear the instruments on display being played in their original cultural context. So what we've gleaned from that, we are able to monitor where guests kind of stay the most.
ah,
And some of the places that I would say people stay the most is we actually have a 3D printed miniature orchestra. We have an entire orchestra that we scanned and had 3D printed in the,
wow.
shapes. And we have it laid out on a monitor that will highlight different sections of the orchestra from underneath so that a guest can listen and see the different aspects of an orchestra and hear them playing together and what they sound like. And there's a child that's actually explaining the different elements of an orchestra. So that one in particular is super popular. People love to see the tiny, kiddos, gathering all around, pointing at each section. That one's really fun.
Can definitely see why. Yeah, reading about the engagement through the musical experience was so impressive. And I know we can't even fully appreciate it just hearing about it, but it sounds amazing as you explained it, that it would follow you through and you're just interacting, which goes back to, I think, what impressed the founders so much when they encountered the museums in Brussels. That
Exactly.
engagement is incredible. There's so much to cover. Let's move on and just hear a few words about the artist gallery, please.
Yes, absolutely. So our artist gallery is a really unique space where we highlight iconic musicians throughout the world. And we have examples both on loan and in our permanent collection. So it's exciting to see how the galleries are consistently changing. Right now on display in the artist gallery, you walk in and you're immediately met by Prince's Purple Piano. Now, this
Wow.
particular piano, it's the first time it's ever been on display outside of Paisley Park. So we're very honored to have this relationship with them, and to be able to house this instrument for the time being. But then you walk around and you're just immediately met by these incredible artists that you've heard about your entire life. It's a very
Mm,
multi-generational space, I love to call it, because
mhm.
around the corner you have Taylor Swift. And then in the back corner, we have Elvis. And then we have a newer item, actually, or a couple of items that we got from Madonna in our permanent
Mm.
collection. So instantly recognizable names that people are shocked and surprised by even sometimes. Sometimes they're like, I didn't even know this person played an instrument, or
Wow.
they're being introduced through their parents telling them memories about this particular artist, or the kids dragging the parents over to Taylor Swift to share about their passions. So, it's that's a really fun space to explore with the whole family, honestly.
No, and it's a great example, as you explained, of how the museums has a wide range of programming for all age groups and the outreach even beyond that, which we might have time to hear a little bit later. But
Sure.
definitely want to move on to what seems like another very popular, going right with the mission and vision of the museum, the Experience Gallery.
Yes. Yes, our experience gallery is a space dedicated to music making. So everyone of all ages can go in there and try their hand at playing the different instruments on display in the experience gallery. And we have purposefully taken examples that you have seen up upstairs in the geographic galleries,
Mhm.
brought them into this space where you can feel free to try it yourself. Because one of our directors loves to say it would be cruel and unusual punishment to have an entire museum of musical instruments and not let you touch one. So we of course want people to try it and be inspired by what they saw in the upstairs galleries, and experience that in that specific gallery. So we have things like a theremin, things that are very unique and original.
Mm.
A theremin, which is, well known for sci-fi films, and Clara Rockmore being one of the most prolific theremin players. She's on display in our artist gallery. You walk in there and you can play one for yourself.
Wow.
We have slit drums from Africa. We have an Indonesian gamelan. We have a giant gong that you would be surprised how much fun the adults have hitting a gong for the first time. So it's really fun and engaging and multi-generational space as well.
Terrific. Maybe before we hear more about the museum, just building on that, could you share a little bit about how the museum engages students and families, perhaps events, classes, even field trips?
Absolutely. Starting with field trips, we last year saw over 55,000 students coming
Wow,
through our
that's
galleries.
impressive.
And we're just consistently growing that number because it's so important to us to get young people into the museum, engaged with music from around the world. And we create lifelong learners and lifelong repeat visitors that way. So it's very important for us to focus on bringing students into the galleries. As far as our programming that involves, families and bringing your friends and all that good stuff, we do a signature event every single month. And each month we focus on either a region, a certain genre of music, or a musical icon. So this year already, we've had some of our most popular signature events return for different iterations. We change up the performances and all those kinds of good things every year. But we had Experience Polynesia earlier this year in January. We just had Celebrate Hip Hop, which was a massive success. People love hip hop. Where our next one is going to be Celebrate Mariachi, and the one following will be Experience Ireland around St. Patty's
Mm.
Day. So we really try to explore different regions of the world, different styles of music, and we explore them by bringing in performers from those cultures, guest talks, curator talks that talk about how the gallery is, related to this style of music. We do crafts and dance workshops. Dance is so important to the representation of many styles of music. So it's like we get to have a deep dive into one specific type of music, and it's
Yeah.
so exciting for us to do those. And then we do more things like world choir workshops where we teach folks how to sing a song from another country every month, or a curator talk where we do just a deep dive into a specific topic of music. Our upcoming one is Sonoran sound, so focusing on the desert and the soundscapes that we constantly hear and their representation in music that we've heard. So we're always looking for
Oh,
programs.
so rich and engaging. I mean,
Absolutely.
I know as soon as we're done chatting, I'll have to look for the quickest flight out to Phoenix to experience the
Please
museum.
do.
It's
And
just,
and I should mention it's all included with museum admission. None of these things are added cost. So then we encourage people to come back, visit, re-experience the museum through the lens of these different genres of music, see what's changed in the galleries. There's something changing every day. So it's very exciting.
oh, there's so much more. Can you share a little bit about the concert hall and then the
Absolutely.
live and performances that amplify the mission, please?
Yes, of course. Our MIM Music Theater is one of the most outstanding theaters. I know I'm biased, but it really is an award-winning, acoustically superb venue, very intimate, only about 300 seats in there.
Mm.
And we do over 360 concerts a year in our concert hall. And you think about that, that's about
Incredible,
one a
right?
day.
You got to really reflect about that. Yeah, wow.
Right. Yeah. Think about that. Sometimes we do two a day and try and, shuffle in those extra concerts here and there. But it really is, like you said, an extension of the museum's mission in that we aren't just representing a specific style of music, we're representing the world's music. So we get in artists from all over the world that are the most prolific players of that specific style of music or that specific instrument. And in many cases, this is people's very first time being exposed to that particular
Mm.
music. But each concert that we bring in is so fantastic and so our guests truly trust us that we're selling out constantly for these shows where you have to know when they're coming out.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with us in order to make sure you secure those seats. But and we do artists that are, well known. We have Smokey Robinson coming up very soon.
Mm.
An example of a global artist that I've shared with you, Femi Kuti and the Positive Force. His father was actually the founder of Afrobeat music. So that was an incredible show to have come to MIM. Really representative of how we try and succeed to showcase music styles from all over the world in as
We're
many as we can.
Oh, yeah. We're fortunate in the closing credits, we're going to have a link to showcase part of Femi Kuti and his group's performance on the 2025 summer concert. Just fabulous. I've watched it several times myself. Really engaging. What does the future hold for MIM?
Yes, we continue to expand on our programming. So we have already included more programs within just the past couple of months. Our World Choir workshops, those are new. Our MIM Talk series, those are new. We plan to continue changing out our galleries. Just this morning, I heard that we're doing an update in Morocco and finishing up Philippines. So every time you visit, truly, you can experience and see something different on display in our galleries. Um, and I truly believe that it's just continuing to reach out to young people, building up our field trip numbers and seeing more and more youth come into the museum to share this message with the world and continue to grow and be worldly people.
I know one of the galleries is dedicated to special exhibitions. Can you share a little bit about that and what's on view now?
Yes, absolutely. So our target gallery is dedicated to special exhibitions. Every year, we explore a new topic of music through that space, and it's entirely curated here in house. So these aren't exhibits that travel to other museums and other
Oh,
institutions. They really are once in a lifetime experiences. So currently we have the magical flute, beauty, enchantment, and power, which explores the world's oldest wind instrument, which is the flute. So we have on display a museum copy of about 35 to 40,000 year old bone instrument, all the way up to a carbon fiber flute made in 1999. And we
mm.
explore the differences of how the flute has had inspiration and has resonated throughout the entire world throughout that time period. So we explore things like the samurai and how they would have flute. We have a samurai uniform on display alongside some of these instruments. We have a Roman whistle, exploring other kinds of flutes that people don't realize are flutes. And we have Sir James Galway, of course, the man with the golden flute. How could you not? The magical flute itself was inspired a bit by the Magic Flute opera. So we have costumes from both the Met and the Seattle Opera's
Mm.
productions. Mark Chagall being one of the designers. So just beautiful, intricate, delicate representations of these instruments from all over the world, contextualized with pieces of art and costume and garments
Mm.
that just really help tell the story of how it's transitioned and transformed throughout the years.
There's so much there, and we're going to be fortunate to highlight that exhibition in an upcoming program and really looking forward to that conversation. You know, when somebody walks out of the MIM Museum after spending a few hours sort of touring the world of music, what do you hope perhaps stays with them after the visit before they come back again?
Absolutely. Our motto is music is the language of the soul. So as you leave or as you enter, we have music is the language of the soul right there in our entranceway in our lobby. As you leave, we have a different sign that says music is the language of the world. And I think that really is the key message here of having people be inspired by the similarities that we truly have with our neighbors around the world of music. You don't have to understand someone else's language in order to feel how music makes you feel. We all use it for celebrations, for rituals, for enjoyment, for entertainment. And that's so powerful to be able to walk through the galleries and realize just how universal music is in our day-to-day lives of communicating and sharing emotion. And
You
that's truly what we hope to share and inspire people with is that shared experience of enjoying music.
Oh, most definitely, most definitely. I mean, just hearing you provide this wonderful overview, I can see another stimulus of the museum is just when you leave, just wanting to find out more and experience more of the genres of music you weren't familiar with, the performers, the instruments, just such a spark to continue learning before, as I say, you return to experience the permanent and the new exhibitions and opportunities. In closing, Sydney, how can viewers and others find out more, keep in touch about developments at the museum, please?
Yeah, we welcome folks to go ahead and head to our website, mim.org, as well as follow us on social media. We're on all the major platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube is where you can find a lot of our performance videos
Mm.
and some really exciting content also from our monitors that you might find. We are also encouraging folks to reach or head to our website to sign up for our email list so that you can stay up to date on all of the things that are coming up. We send out weekly news blasts to share about upcoming concerts. New concerts come out every other week, so it's pretty intense and exciting when those come up. But yes, I would say those are the main ways that you can reach out to us.
Terrific, terrific. Well, this has been wonderful and definitely confirmation from my point of view of what a terrific career choice you've made to make
Thank you.
music MIM your home now. Just want to wish you and others at the museum continued success with future endeavors.
Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure to chat with you today, Jay. Thank you.
Wonderful. Also want to thank those of you watching for joining us and hope you'll be able to tune in next time.